Before Satan became the great deceiver, before demons, before the Garden of Eden, before sin entered the human family, there was a glorious angel, perfect in beauty, full of wisdom, created without sin. He stood in the presence of God. So what transformed one of heaven's most honored spirit creatures into the devil? Was he created evil, or did something happen inside him? Long before humans walked the earth, heaven was a place of perfect peace. Everything reflected Jehovah God's wisdom, holiness, and order. Millions upon millions of faithful angels joyfully carried out the assignments their Creator had given them. There was no hatred, no jealousy, no rebellion. Every heavenly creature recognized one truth: only Jehovah God deserved worship, honor, and absolute loyalty. Among those countless spirit creatures was one who stood out because of the extraordinary gifts God had given him. The Bible describes him as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Many people know him by the name Lucifer. But here's something many viewers don't realize. The name Lucifer appears in some older Bible translations, while many modern translations use expressions such as morning star or shining one. Regardless of the translation, the Bible describes a magnificent spirit creature who enjoyed an honored position in heaven. Ezekiel calls him the anointed guardian cherub. Many Bible traditions suggest, however, the Bible does not describe every detail. One fact stands beyond question: God did not create a devil, he created a perfect angel. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Evil was not created, it was chosen. For ages beyond human understanding, this angel faithfully served his creator. Then something changed, not around him, inside him. Pride rarely announces itself, it whispers. The gifts that once moved him to glorify God slowly became reasons to admire himself. His beauty, his wisdom, his honor. Instead of seeing them as gifts from Jehovah, he began to see them as reasons to seek greater glory for himself. Your heart became proud because of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. That single change of heart would eventually shake heaven itself. But pride never remains hidden for long. In the next part, we'll uncover the 5 dangerous statements that expose Lucifer's ambition and how they led to the first rebellion in the universe. The Bible never says Lucifer suddenly became Satan. His fall began much earlier inside his heart. No trumpet announced it, no angel saw it, no war had started. The first battle was invisible. It was the battle between humility and pride. The more Lucifer admired the gifts God had given him, the less satisfied he became with simply serving his Creator. His focus slowly shifted from worship to self, from gratitude to ambition. The light that reflected God's glory began to seek glory for itself. As Proverbs 16:18 warns, pride is before a crash and a haughty spirit before stumbling. Lucifer was about to prove those words true. Isaiah chapter 14 gives us a remarkable glimpse into the thoughts growing inside his heart. One by one, 5 declarations reveal the ambition that was consuming him. The first was,
I will ascend to the heaven.
Serving in heaven was no longer enough. He wanted to rise higher. Then came the second,
I will raise my throne above the stars of God.
In Scripture, the stars of God can symbolize God's angelic host. Lucifer no longer wanted to serve alongside them. He wanted authority over them. The third declaration was even bolder.
I will sit enthroned on the mountain of assembly.
He desired a position that belonged only to the sovereign of the universe. Then came the fourth.
I will ascend above the tops of the clouds.
His ambition continued to grow. But the fifth statement revealed the true nature of his rebellion. He declared,
I will make myself like the Most High.
Notice something important. Every statement begins the same way.
I will.
Not, what does God want? Not, how can I honor my Creator? Only I was used. That is what pride does. It replaces God's will with our own. But one angel, even one as powerful as Lucifer, could never overthrow God's sovereignty by himself. If he wanted followers, he first needed to change hearts. The Bible doesn't record every conversation that took place in heaven. Many traditions imagine detailed speeches and secret meetings, but Scripture doesn't describe those events. What Revelation does reveal is that eventually a third of the angels chose to follow him. Somehow the rebellion spread. The one who had once reflected God's glory began leading others away from it. The poison that had corrupted his own heart spread to countless others. Pride became rebellion, rebellion became division. For the first time in heaven's history, perfect unity was broken. Eventually, what had been hidden could no longer remain hidden. The rebellion became open. The lines were drawn. Loyalty would now be tested. On one side stood those who remained faithful to Jehovah. On the other stood Lucifer and the angels who had chosen to follow him. The greatest conflict in the history of creation was about to begin. And although many imagine this battle in different ways, the Bible focuses on something even more important than how it looked. It tells us who won. That battle and its consequences changed the universe forever. The war had begun, but what happened to Lucifer after his defeat? And how did this heavenly rebellion eventually affect humanity? The rebellion could remain hidden no longer. The moment had come. Revelation chapter 12 records it with remarkable simplicity.
War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels battled with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels battled.
The Bible does not describe every detail of that conflict. It doesn't tell us what the battlefield looked like, or how long the struggle lasted. Many artistic portrayals fill in those gaps, but Scripture focuses our attention on what matters most, the outcome. Lucifer had forgotten one fundamental truth. No created being can overthrow the Creator. No amount of wisdom can exceed the wisdom of the one who gives it. No amount of power can overcome the one from whom all power comes. Revelation 12:8 declares,
They did not prevail, neither was a place found for them any longer in heaven.
the rebellion ended exactly as it had to, not because God barely survived, but because his sovereignty was never truly threatened.
The throne of Jehovah had never been in danger. Then came the judgment. So down the great dragon was hurled, the original serpent, the one called Devil and Satan. He was hurled down to the earth, and his angels were hurled down with him. The honored cherub lost his place. The shining one became the adversary, the accuser, the deceiver, the one the Bible now calls Satan.
Years later, Jesus would refer to this event, saying, I see Satan already fallen like lightning from heaven. What had begun as hidden pride had ended in complete disgrace. Many people think Satan's greatest loss was his position, but it was far greater than that. He lost the privilege of standing in the presence of his Creator. The one who had given him life, wisdom, beauty, and purpose was now forever opposed to him. His rebellion had gained him nothing. It had cost him everything. Pride had promised a throne. Instead, it led to exile. Although Satan had been cast out of heaven, his rebellion did not end. It simply changed its target. If he could no longer attack God's heavenly organization, he would attack God's earthly creation. The humans Jehovah had lovingly formed from the dust, the humans made in God's image. And Satan already knew exactly how he would do it, not with overwhelming force, but with the same weapon that had begun his rebellion, deception. One question, one lie, one act of disobedience. The next chapter of this story would not unfold in heaven. It would unfold in a beautiful garden called Eden. And there, the entire future of mankind would change. And there, in Eden, humanity lived in perfect peace. Adam and Eve knew nothing of fear, shame, or death. But something dark had entered their perfect world. Satan approached Eve through the serpent. He began with a question, did God really say? A question became the doorway to doubt. Then Satan contradicted God's warning. He promised that she could become like God. Eve reached for the fruit. She ate, and Adam followed her. Immediately, innocence gave way to shame. Peace was replaced by fear. Sin had entered the human family. The rebellion that began in heaven had now touched humanity. And the weapon Satan used in Eden was deception. That pattern would continue long after Eden. He still uses pride to turn attention away from God and towards self. He still makes destructive choices appear beautiful. That is why Scripture warns us to stay alert. The Bible describes the devil as an adversary seeking someone to devour. But Satan's rebellion will not continue forever. God promised that the serpent would ultimately be Satan facing final destruction. The rebellion that began with pride will end, and God's throne will never possess it. His pride will accomplish nothing. Lucifer's story is also a warning to us. He possessed beauty, wisdom, power, and an honored position. Gifts became dangerous when he stopped giving glory. Pride rarely begins with open rebellion. It begins when self becomes more important than God. He faced the same choice between self-will and humility. Jesus taught that the humble would be exalted. Lucifer reached upward for glory, but humility bows before God. The tragedy of Lucifer's fall was not simply what he lost. It was what he chose to reject. His beauty could not save him. His wisdom could not save him. His power could not save him, because gifts can never replace the giver. And perhaps that is Lucifer's greatest warning to us. He fell because he forgot who gave him that power. Never let your gifts become more important than the one who gave. Stay humble, stay faithful. If this story helped you understand the Bible more deeply, subscribe for more cinematic biblical stories.